Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would talk a little further about something I decided to do. I started thinking about this in the last couple days since I'm having a little bit of inflammation in my trap and neck. I can't overhead press for a bit. I'm like, you know what? A bunch of people have asked me in the past, hey, you've said that the overhead press itself can be used to build a bench press. We know you haven't been doing any sort of benching for a very, very long time. Why don't you kind of demonstrate this for us? And when I say demonstrate it, I don't mean prove it. This is already proven. Like there's no experimentation here. This is just basically me displaying what's already known by coaches all around the world. All right, that's all I'm going to do here. I'm not displaying anything magical. I'm not going to display anything new. This isn't my magic secret. This is very well understood in the exercise science world. This is well understood among strength and conditioning coaches. The overhead press can build your bench press. And I mean doing exclusively overhead press can actually build a decent bench press up because the same muscles are involved. And people forget that. They don't realize the overhead press done correctly isn't a delt and tricep exercise. It's a delt, tricep, chest, trapezius. It's all sorts of exercises. And it does work your pecs. And so what I've done, let's give you guys a little bit of a timeline. We don't need to worry about my 20s. I was obviously bigger and stronger in my 20s, and I had used a fair amount of gear in my 20s. Now, we're not talking about Rispiana type doses or even Jerry Ward doses as far as what we know he used not that long ago. So I did use a fair amount of gear though in my 20s, so those numbers probably really aren't worth discussing. We need to worry about where I was when I quit bench pressing. Yeah, we know that back in my 37-ish or whatever, when I was doing meets, yeah, you guys saw me close grip 315 for 5 reps. I absolutely did that. And those were pause reps. That's pause on the chest, none of this touch and go where people say, oh, I paused it. No, you didn't. You can't count at least a half second of recording time to a second on the chest. That's not pause. That was paused. But I wasn't there at 39 back when I quit flat benching. As far as I remember, I think the most impressive thing I've done as far as flat benching goes on camera since returning to Texas, returning to the United States, was when I was 39 years old, about a year and a half ago. I did a closed grip with 295 for a 1 count on the chest, 1 count pause for 3 reps. So that's kind of the baseline. And I quit flat benching again, and that includes the closed grip shortly after that. Right? Everyone remember that I quit after that. I went to the incline for about 6 months. And I quit inclining a year ago. I went to check my training footage, dates on it, the stuff I've posted about a year ago. Now, for a good chunk of that, did I do dips? Sure, up until about December of last year. Well, it's September now. This is the 9th month of the year. I quit dipping 9 months ago. I quit inclining a year ago. And I quit closed grip flat bench, an all flat bench, a year and a half ago. I stopped at 295 for 3 on pause closed grip. I have been, for this entire year, this entire 9 months of the year, I have trained my chest and my pressing exclusively with overhead press, with a strong focus on the push press, but not exclusively the push press. I've done strict press, I've done behind the neck press, I've done dumbbell standing presses, all of it standing, but all overhead work. So I decided, you know what, now's a good time for me to come do the closed grip. And there's already been some criticism of the training footage. People are like, well, I expected it to be more than that. Well, why would I come in and do my max? We're going to document this as I go. The first couple workouts, I'm not going to go hard. The reason is I don't want to hurt myself. I need to assess the weight. I need to relearn the motor pattern. Because people need to understand the 2 biggest factors in your strength gains are going to be motor unit learning and muscle mass. I believe, and this is my honestly held belief, based on everything I've seen out there in the research, that I have maintained all of my chest size and all of my tricep and delt size by doing overhead pressing that I had when I was doing the close grip. What I don't have is the motor unit learning, and that'll take several weeks. So what I decided, this is a really good time for me to jump in and do some close grip. Let's do it. This is my first time doing this exercise in a year and a half. I have done exactly 4 sessions of floor press in the last few months. Now, no one has seen me, even on camera on Instagram, do more than 185 on that floor press. That a fair statement? Is that the most anyone has seen me use? Because I played around with it a few times as an accessory just to see how my chest felt before I jumped back into any chest pressing. And it all felt good. It felt easy. So here's what I did. I jumped up today, did some ramping up to assess how I felt, right? Empty bar, 135, 185. I got to 185 for 5 reps and realized with those pauses I could have done 15 or 20 reps. So I decided to go ahead and go to 2 plates. I'm like, that's a good baseline starting point. Now, it's funny. People are like, man, that's not very good. Well, do you expect it to be? I haven't done the exercise in a while, and I didn't push myself. We established a baseline. That's what I did. Just established a baseline and said, okay, guys, here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at. Without having to actually push myself or feel that I'm lifting a heavy weight, I cranked out 5 sets of 5 with pauses on every single rep with 225. Now, I think that's established that I have maintained a reasonable amount of chest muscle. I've maintained a reasonable amount of pressing strength because, again, 225 for 5x5, all paused on the close grip. That's something most people don't do with only a year of hard training, right? Plenty of YouTubers out there who can't do that paused, who people consider to be decently strong. It's not amazing. It's not even my best. But it is what it is. There's our baseline. This is my first time doing the exercise again. So what I'm going to do for you guys over a little bit of time, because I'm like, you know what? I might as well demonstrate this because people are curious. A lot of people say, oh, I don't believe it. I don't care what coaches say. So, okay, let's do it. Let's demonstrate it. Let's see if once I relearn the technique while I'm dieting, because here's the thing. Most people's pressing strength goes down when you're cutting, right? I just had a big swoosh. We had a weigh-in this week. I was down 6 pounds on the scale with proof. Same scale, same boots that I started at 250. I did a 229 weigh-in. Now I'm down to 223. I clearly have lost weight in the last week. Again, we've got scale proof. Pressing strength usually goes down. In fact, gaining muscle in your pressing muscles is very, very, very difficult when you're losing weight. Anyone who's ever cut or lost fat or lost weight knows this. So we know that I'm cutting, and I'm going to continue to do cut updates. If my pressing strength on the close grip goes up decently over the next couple of weeks, considering I haven't been doing the exercise, I come back and do it. If it gets back up to anywhere near where it was when I quit doing the exercise a year and a half ago, and since I quit all barbell chest presses and all chest pressing other than overhead a year ago, if the overhead press isn't a good way to build strength on any of those things and isn't a fantastic accessory, then I won't get anywhere near that because I will have lost muscle in my chest. And I'm not going to be able to regain muscle in my chest while cutting. I'm not blasting gear and I'm 40 years old. I don't think we're going to see significant chest hypertrophy from a 40-year-old man not blasting gear who is currently losing weight and dieting, right? Calorie deficit, my pecs aren't going to grow significantly in the next month. So we'll start ramping the weight up slowly and see what happens with it. As I regain the motor patterns of actually doing the exercise, we'll see what will happen. And for those who forget, who say, oh, this won't work, I demonstrated this same thing years ago with the deadlift, didn't I? You guys remember, I got out of bed, I wasn't able to train, I built back up to a 525 deadlift, right? I didn't deadlift for 8 or 9 months. I did not deadlift for 8 or 9 months. I did a lot of rowing, a lot of squatting, and a lot of glute ham raises. After 9 months of not touching the deadlift, I pulled 515. Then the next workout, I pulled 525. The next workout, I pulled 525 for a triple. And then the next workout, I pulled 535 for a triple. I did that in 3 weeks. Took me 3 weeks to do that after not deadlifting, going from a 525 to not deadlifting to going back to deadlifting 3 weeks to hit 535 for 3. We're going to see what we can do demonstrating me going back to the close grip, and let's see what happens with it since I've only been doing overhead pressing. And again, this will be a good learning example for people to show that big heavy compounds, if you train yourself in a variety of big basic movements, that size and that strength will actually carry over to a lot of other lifts, even lifts that you don't even train. A well-rounded strength will allow you to do that. So that's what we're going to do. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.